Hello, 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 and thanks so much. Yes, everybody. Oh my God, on a wheel. Chloe, I'm going to send you that $10 for saying I was gorgeous because that deserves a tip. Well, that's right. My name is Mrs. Kasha Davis, and I am truly delighted to be here as we celebrate Pride from our homes. And now, you know, that is possible because what we're doing is we are making lemonade out of lemons. I mean, that's what we've got to do right now because, you know, it's a time, isn't it? And we're trying to figure out new ways to celebrate from home. I currently am celebrating Pride with you and hosting from my basement in my Birkenstocks and hairy legs because from here up, I'm Mrs. Kasha Davis. From there down, well, that's for anybody else to figure out, maybe Mr. Davis. Now, again, I am delighted to be here, and I was a contestant on Rupaul's Drag Race Season 7, the opening credits. And so I have been very fortunate to be able to do such things as this and spend some time with you, the Suny family. So before we get into the fun and all of the extravaganza, I have to speak on something that is near and dear to all of our hearts right now. And I want to send you not only a hello, but lots of health, love, and positivity from our home to yours. And along with that, a dash of hope. You know, we're navigating an interesting period right now, and there's a lot of unrest and change. And I first want to mention that I do recognize my privilege as a cis white gay male. And I think it's important to mention that Mr. Davis and I are listening, we're learning, we're also speaking up, we're inspired, of course, by the protests, the posts, the people that are donating, and the conversations. You know, it is so important to be having the conversations with loved ones and friends and family so that we can navigate this period of change and turn that change into action. Because I want you to know that I love you and stand with you because Black Lives Matter. And that's so important to mention as we kick off because it is a very difficult time right now, but it is a time of hope and of change. So let's get this party started. Oh my gosh. Let's start off with a little poll question. Now we have a tech guy, his name is Jonathan, and Jonathan is just darling. He's very good at the technology. I myself am not. Sometimes I'm on Faceplace and InstaSnatch and Twatter, but not tonight. Tonight is just you and me, who's zooming who. Now Jonathan, maybe he can pull up this poll question. And here it is. See if you've been listening. Mrs. Kasha Davis, of course, that's me, was a contestant on season 7 of which popular TV show? Top Chef? No. America's Next Top Model? Well, without your glasses, maybe. RuPaul's Drag Race or American Idol? Woo! All right. Let's see if we've got our answers. Hanging on. Oh, 100%. RuPaul's Drag Race. Of course you were listening, which makes me so proud. I'm just delighted to hear that you're, because, you know, you're students, and that's not surprising. It's true. Mama Ru had me on RuPaul's Drag Race Season 7. I auditioned all 7 seasons. So let me just kick this off with whatever your dream is in your life, always follow through, because you know it could just form into a different way that you would never expect. I had my dreams begin to come true at the age of 44. And now I'm almost 50. So kids, grandma's here. She's an old bag. All right. I am so excited that I get to help Suny premiere their Suny Pride transformation video. Oh, we love a transformation. Suny asked students, faculty, and alumni to participate and show us how they transform from COVID quarantine drab to their Pride fab. They received almost 40 submissions. Thank you, members of the Stony Brook University and Binghamton University Marching Band, for providing this amazing version of Lady Gaga's Born This Way, which accompanies the video. Jonathan, take it away. Here we go. my gosh, that song just gets stuck in my head, and I would love to sing it live with the band like that. Woo! Fantastic. And I just enjoyed The smiles, the makeup. I saw the shirt. Black Trans Lives Matter. Love it. Feathers, masks, beads. Oh my gosh, kings and queens. Fabulous. All right, now, I do have the pleasure of introducing you all to a featured FIT alumni from that fabulous video, Jerome Lamar. Hello, Jerome.
Hi.
Oh my God, I see, where, oh, there he is.
Hi.
There
Thanks
she
for
is.
having me.
Oh my God, those glasses are just stunning.
You know, I have to do a little something,
Yeah, and the blouse.
you know.
I love your blouse. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, well, first, let's ask, Jerome has collaborated on the launch of which major celebrity's latest line? Mrs. Kasha Davis's, hopefully someday, Sarah Jessica Parker, Anderson Cooper, or Beyonce? Well, I used to Beyonce, but that's a whole nother story. Here, let's see if we know the answers, everyone. Answer, answer, answer. The host and the panelists cannot vote. And, aha!
No.
Beyonce! Oh my gosh. Tell us a little bit about what that was like.
Well, it was wonderful. Beyonce is a hard worker, so am I. And, you know, she's the queen of glam and sparkle and the American dream in a way. And so she was such an inspiration, so smart, so poignant. And it was a total honor. I'm so grateful.
Oh, now you are also the youngest trustee on the board of the Bronx Museum of Art, I hear.
Yes. Yes. So that's a cool thing because I get to, you know, embrace the arts, you know, so.
Yes. And now, do you consider drag art, is my question to you?
Yes, it is. It's a total art form. Are you kidding me? You get to transform yourself.
Well,
listen, Halloween, I go crazy over my transformation. So let's, we should coordinate.
Yeah, give me a picture. I would love for you to design something for me because, you know, you just never know what fabulous new venture I could be doing in my basement.
I'm in it. I'm into it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I have to ask you, you know, how have you been staying positive and taking care of yourself during quarantine, during this Pride Month and this year especially? How have you been doing and how have you taken care of yourself?
Oh, I mean, it's been so long. So I started off like meditating a lot. That was how I began the beginning of COVID and everything else. And then it started to become more creative where I'm starting to do illustrations again and designing once again. But lately, I've been eating a lot and cooking even more. So that's where I've been like, you know, dabbling in and discovering just some new talents for myself. So.
Oh, thank you for saying that because I have to tell you, I myself wake up in the morning and I spend some time with my soul pup, our dog Max. And truly, you know, there's so much going on right now, you know, with Black Lives Matter and of course with COVID. And all of this information is coming through our social media, and sometimes we just need to take a moment. Yeah. Zen out, and then we have that opportunity, because of that, inspiration comes and creativity manifests.
Absolutely.
Oh,
and I think that's what you should do. You know, I think once you take a break from social media, it's a lot.
Yes.
You know, but it gives you time to kind of become more mindful and more centered so you can create new things, you know?
Now, I myself, I'm not the best chef. I like to make reservations. Mr. Davis, he's got us going vegan. So
I'm trying to go vegan. It's a whole world. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's a little, you know, at night after a couple, bowls of lentils, it's a little like, you know, it gets a little. So let's just be honest. It's a lot of vegetables. But, you know, you're cooking. What is your favorite dish?
I love pasta. So like I like rigatoni and things like that. It kind of makes me feel good and loved. My fiance is actually the one who cooks. But I'm learning how to cook. Just like you, I like reservations and Grubhub. Those are my friends.
That's
but
right.
I'm learning how to be more domestic. So maybe you could teach me some things.
Oh, well, listen. Yes,
And
international
listen to
celebrity housewife here.
There it is.
I know how to clean a toilet. I'll tell you that. And it's important to keep a clean house. You know, my mother taught me, make your bed in the morning.
Yes.
It really starts your day.
Your day. It does. It really does. My dad's a military man, so that's like a must.
Yeah.
So he's always been very like, make your bed up and then you start your day.
You know, it's interesting. So much goes on. We're going back to the meditation and the idea that every day is a new opportunity, isn't it?
Yes.
And if you start it like each day is almost like your life that day, you know, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. We can keep centered, we can keep focused, and most importantly, we can keep positive. And you just seem like just a barrel of fun. So we're going to get together.
I'm here.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I can't wait until we design something together or maybe go have some pasta or make those reservations.
All of the above.
Yeah. Fabulous.
Thank you guys for having me. Enjoy Pride.
Thank you so much.
Later, guys.
All right, here we go. Next up, we're going to talk about Suny Pride Art. Now, Suny put out a call for student and faculty artists to submit pieces that pertain to Pride. They had such a great response that some really amazing pieces, as you can see here, and you will see these pieces only showcase the photography and visual art submissions. There were also music, writing, and video submissions. 37 submissions were accepted to the Pride Art exhibition, and you can see the entire virtual gallery at suny.edu/pride. Oh my gosh, look at that. You know, much like meditation, our art or our writing and this is a way to express ourselves, and it's just fantastic and fabulous. Look at all of this. I can't wait to go on the www and go ahead and check it out at suny.edu/pride. Maybe we can do that together. Oh my gosh. All right, so now I'd like to introduce two of the artists who are featured in the Suny Pride exhibition, Bill Doherty and Carol Jewell.
Hi.
Hello, hello.
Good evening. Hi, I'm KD. How are you?
Oh, I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good.
Oh my gosh. Now, Bill and Carol, you are both SUNY faculty.
That's right.
With very different SUNY histories. And can you tell me about those, tell everyone about your history? And Carol, we'll start with you.
I have been a faculty member at the University of Albany for 35 years.
Oh my gosh.
I work in the library. I'm a cataloger of periodicals and monographs. When I started working at the University at Albany, everybody thought I was straight, including me. I was married to a man, and I had a daughter with him. It didn't work out, and later on we divorced, and then I had relationships with a few other men, and they didn't work out either. Suddenly, one day, I saw Aretha Franklin on TV. That is, I saw her in a new light. I thought to myself, aha, that's what all those feelings mean. That was over 21 years ago. The University at Albany, like a lot of other institutions, was at that time a member of the National Coalition Building Institute, ncbi.org. And I was invited to a training. NCBI believes that if we tell our stories to other people, we can reduce prejudice and build coalitions and make allies. So I went to this training, and some of the people there were colleagues of mine, and then there were a bunch of people there that I didn't know. I was meeting for the first time. Long story short, that day, I came out to 60 people. I would like to say to our LGBTQIA plus sign, whatever initials or acronyms you want to use, I think it's important to do things with your family, and that can be your chosen family, and find each other on campus and more and more you will see faculty that look like you. I had a poem which I submitted to this event, and it was accepted. Should I read it now, Mrs. Kasha, or should I wait?
I say read it. Why not? We'd love to hear it.
Okay. This is called Lesbian Bowling League. I see you smiling, Bill. I once belonged to an all-women's bowling league. Okay, it was an all-lesbian league. There were dykes of all shapes, sizes, colors, ages. Anyone would think they'd hit a gold mine of gay gals. I don't even remember which lesbian first invited us to play. Who knew whom, you ask? Everyone knew everyone. We were family. A gold mine of gals, gentlewomen, femmes, ladies, bitches, all with the same goal. A 300 game, 12 strikes. Everyone knew everyone. Everyone was gay. I admit, I didn't know there were so many lesbians who liked to bowl. So we joined their Sapphic Alliance. I admit, I didn't know there was a community of lesbian bowlers just waiting to add us to their teams. So we joined their Sapphic Alliance and learned a lot of new words and got better at bowling. We were always picked last as kids, but these women wanted us. Dykes of all kinds, images, clothing, schooling, single and not. Our bowling improved and our courage was enhanced once we joined that all-women's bowling league.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. You know, I have to say, Carol, a few things that really resonate with me, myself, and listening to you. Family. I mean, it is so important. Our chosen family that we, we gather around ourselves, and of course, family. That's our given family. If hopefully it's a safe and accepting family. And I know for myself in time, although it wasn't, it got better. I think family is so important. And, you're so brave coming out to 60 people like that. Like, wow. I mean, that had to be really powerful. And
a lot of tears.
A lot of tears and probably a lot of relief and joy. I have to say, and you mentioned about sharing our stories. Oftentimes when we share our stories, we think to ourselves, oh gosh, I don't know if anybody's going to relate to this. You never know what part of your story may help someone else, because when we share our stories, it's like sometimes looking in a mirror, we can hear or see different parts of someone else's story that we can relate to. So I thank you for that, and I think that's a wonderful message. And I heard a little birdie said you have a new grandchild coming.
In August 10th, she's due.
Oh my God.
We're all very excited. My grandson is very happy to becoming a big brother. And we just know that a girl is coming. We don't know her name yet.
Well, you're going to have to teach them all to bowl. That's what's going to have to happen. All right. Thank you so much, Carol. And Bill. Hello. How are you, Bill?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm a delight, really. That's what at least Mr. Davis says. So now what has been your experience with SUNY Cortland the past few years? And I know you've moved from a metropolitan area like NYC.
Yeah. I was in the city for about 30 years, and I'm from the Midwest originally. So moving up here was kind of like a homecoming. It's definitely a culture shock. It's interesting to see so many Trump bumper stickers and yeah. So I really enjoy the atmosphere up here because talented kids are talented kids. And I teach in the musical theater department. I was with NYU for about 25 years, and I taught at Tisch, and Anne Hathaway and Kristen Bell, Matthew Morrison, they were some of my students. And so I got kind of spoiled and kind of expected that cream of the crop sort of student. But once I moved up here, I was really thrilled to see how alive the arts are in upstate New York. High schools and junior highs and grade schools all have music programs and theater programs. So it was nice. It's a good way to kind of glide into my twilight years by being up here.
Oh, wonderful. Well, now, so you teach musical theater, correct?
I do. I do.
And when you perform, you have a unique perspective when you perform. Tell us a little bit about that.
I do. Before I began teaching, and I fell into that quite by accident, I was mostly acting and performing concerts in theaters and that sort of thing. But unless I was playing a straight role, I always sang from the male perspective of being in love with another man. I don't have the experience of being a straight man. I don't know what it's like to love a woman. So singing a lyric, unless I was paid to play the role, didn't ring true with me. So I find that now when I work with young gay and bi and questioning and transgendered students, I always respect their pronouns. And I always ask them how they like to approach their music. Because if there's a way we can turn As Long As He Needs Me around so that somebody can sing that song from Oliver who doesn't happen to be Nancy, I'll do it. And I'll try to make sure that they feel really well served in being able to make sure that they can have a voice in musical theater that may not be what they would have if they didn't have a teacher that was of the same ilk, you know, the same understanding.
That's a wonderful perspective, because it sounds like, you know, what you're really teaching is to express with honesty from yourself. And right. Any audience member is going to sense that honesty. And I really like what you're mentioning about the idea that in the small towns outside or cities or areas away from the big hubs like New York City, and you know, that you absolutely can develop your skills and get the experience. And there are wonderful theater groups, and whether they're through the schools or in the community, where you can become, you know, prepared and ready to take on anything that you have in your dreams.
That's right. And I walk the walk. So every time I do a concert in the city, if I'm doing something up here, it's from the male perspective. And one of the pieces that I had accepted was a music video to the song 50% from Ballroom. And it's about being the other woman. And I sing it as the male perspective. And I use photos from the gay history of males being closeted and yet somehow brave enough to have their photos taken. And then I also have a one-act play that I submitted and was it was accepted, and a short story. So
oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm well represented here, and it's because of my gay perspective, being a faculty member at SUNY Cortland, that allowed me to be able to reach my students this way as well.
Well, fantastic. And thank you both for your leadership as faculty members, and you know, guiding students is so important. And because I remember when I grew up in the 70s and 80s, back then, as you know, Elton John and Barry Manilow and Liberace, they were all straight.
And Paul Lynde.
And Paul Lynde, well, Paul Lynde, we were questioned. You know, the idea is that we're giving examples for our children and for our students of happy, healthy perspectives that are honest and from our heart.
That's
and
right.
It's so important to have leaders like yourself. So thank you both so much. And you're both so important to SUNY. So thank you for sharing your stories and for inspiring the next generation of SUNY students and faculty to live their truths as you have.
And thank you for all you do for the community.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So you are both featured in the gallery, and reminder everyone, you can see that the entire virtual gallery at suny.edu/pride. All right. So thank you both so much. So speaking of stories, let's move on to our next important topic and kick it off with our final trivia question. Jonathan, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Jonathan, thank you. Give him a warm round of applause from your homes for Jonathan. Here we go. Which SUNY campus did gay rights activist and commissioner of the original rainbow flag, Harvey Milk, graduate from in 1951? SUNY New Paltz, University at Albany, SUNY Oneonta, Westchester Community College. Answers, answers, answers. Pausing for results. And, aha! University at Albany. Oh my gosh. How inspiring and exciting is that? Oh, one of our original leaders in the gay movement. I mean, commissioner of the original rainbow flag. Oh my gosh, fantastic. Harvey Milk. And you know, you can go on the www to learn all about his history. Okay. What an incredible legacy, of course, for you, Albany. And speaking of the history of the LGBTQ plus movement, that leads us to our next important conversation tonight. SUNY wants to build their archives and fill in the details of all the hard work and activism that's taken place for the LGBTQ plus initiatives through the years at all 64 of SUNY's campuses. But they need your help. So they've put out a call to action for any alumni, graduated or incomplete, faculty, staff, or student to share their story. And Jonathan has a call to action video for us to watch together. Jonathan.
This is a call to the 64 campuses and decades of generations of LGBTQ plus alumni, faculty, and staff to join us this Pride by telling your story. Many of our campuses have taken unprecedented steps towards LGBTQ plus empowerment, but before they started to lift, our students had to lead. For decades, on our campuses and in their communities, our LGBTQ plus alumni paved the way for the movements and moments of today. Moratoriums, women's liberation, lavender, trans men's societies, take back the night, Black, Latinx, Asian student unions, gay liberation, Mattachine societies, gay and lesbian alliances, HIV and AIDS, ACT UP, SASU, speakers, conferences, disability rights, civil rights, Stonewall. LGBTQ plus SUNY alum were there. Help us tell the story and fill in the gaps. Together, we will build an unprecedented SUNY archive of LGBTQ plus intersectional student and institutional history. Voices long silenced but will not be lost, so we can finally have a past to help inspire the future. Join us at suny.edu/pride to share your campus story and let us show you a little of what we've been up to.
Fabulous. Now, of course, I really do encourage you all to share your stories and help SUNY build those archives. As we mentioned earlier, by sharing our stories, you can be helping somebody else to find their inner truth and their courage to be exactly who they are. And you can submit your stories on the SUNY Pride website. Now, I may as well take a moment here to share a bit of my story. You know, I mentioned that I grew up I haven't mentioned, but I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Back in the 70s and 80s. And as a little boy, girl, boy, fella, I used to revel in things like watching my mother, who's over my shoulder here. I would watch her put on her makeup. She was an Italian diva. And I would watch as I sit on the side of the tub and I would study her artwork. And oh my gosh, I knew from an early age that I was born fabulous. Well, Dad wasn't so excited about that fabulous fella, and so we would butt heads. Time went on, and I felt as though I had to do everything I could to please him and anybody else. And so I married the first girl who would say yes. And of course, you know, as we were dating, I thought I better come out to her, and she said, "You're just European, we'll just deal with it." What? We got married. Of course, it didn't work. She was more of a size, 8'10", and I'm more of an 18'20". So, you know, obviously we could never stay together. At any rate, time went on and I came out to my parents. And I'll tell you, it was not very easy. My dad was not accepting and he spit in my face and my parents told me to get out. Well, I moved to Rochester, New York. Woo! And, you know, I would go out. I was working my career and I'd go out and I saw Pandora Box and Darien Lake and Ambrosia Salad and Aggie Dean, all these fabulous drag queens. And I thought, okay, they were great. And then, you know, I went to school for theater and I thought, I don't know if I want to be a drag queen, but time went on and I saw a drag queen named Miss Richfield 1981. And oh my gosh, I was inspired. Look her up, Miss Richfield 1981. Fantastic. Well, I thought, what a hoot. She had a character, she had a story. And I thought, I'm going to try this. And it just started to come together. My theater time in my life, and I was able to perform at night. Lo and behold, fast forward, RuPaul's Drag Race. Well, that happened. And it was a dream come true because I was able to transition from a career where I was doing what everybody else wanted me to do to a career where I was following my heart. And you know, the biggest dream of my life has not necessarily been performing. It was to have a family. And when I was first coming out, I thought, I don't know if you can do that. You know, back then, gay marriage wasn't legal, and I couldn't see depictions of people living a happy, healthy life. Well, lo and behold, Mr. Davis and I met. We've been together for 17 years, and it's been marvelous. And he had 2 darling daughters. And our daughters are alumni of the SUNY schools. Our oldest daughter is a SUNY Oneonta graduate, 2013. She has her bachelor's degree in child and family studies. And then our youngest, the overachiever, she's gone to 3 SUNY schools, GCC Associates, Human Services in 2016, 2018, Brockport, a BA in social work, and then 2019, a master's in school counseling, and she's just doing fabulous. And so there I was, you know, finding all of this, you know, dreams coming true. And I'll tell you, I looked in my own eyes, and there was one more thing to fix. If you know my phrase, there's always time for a cocktail. It was time for me to take a look at myself, and I will say that this summer, I will be, July 13th, I will be 5 years sober. So that is just something that came out of all of this discovery of learning to love myself and be honest and true to myself. So you can follow your dreams and you can find your passions within your heart with patience. And I promise you, those things will come true when you're true to yourself. My favorite thing to do happens to be drag story time. And you can catch me now live on Facebook and Instagram on Wednesdays and Sundays. It really is an inspiration to read to the children because these kids come to story time or watch and they don't ask questions about gender or sexuality. They just come to see Mrs. Kasha Davis, who's fabulous, reading books. And what we talk about is how to treat someone who's different with kindness. And what a better world we can live in if we start early with that type of positivity, acceptance, and love. So I do want to say thank you so much for having me here. And what an incredible time we've had spending this time together. My mom taught me one thing, and I'd like to share it with you. She taught me a lot of things, God rest her soul. But she taught me something that really sticks with me. Not only making your bed in the morning, but looking into your eyes every morning after you brush your teeth and say to yourself, I love you. It starts with loving yourself, and I promise you, everything else will come together. Now, I think it's time to dance. Woo! So I'd like to introduce to you all to Zeke Thomas. He's a celebrity DJ who's going to take us into this next hour-long SUNY Pride dance party. Zeke, are you there?
I am here. How are you?
Oh, I'm all right. How are you, dear?
I mean, I'm well. I just heard you've been married for 17 years.
Oh, yes. 17
Congratulations.
years. 17 years, 7 legal, 3 happy.
Well, how are you happy in quarantine? That's what I really want to know.
You know, believe it or not, it's been wonderful because we are spending, 24 consecutive hours with one another. He's working from home. I'm dancing around in the basement. And we're really finding a new love and a different experience together. So it's pretty amazing. So, and you could always go for a walk if you have to.
A little bit. Depending on where you are.
I have to say before we get going, I enjoyed listening to Dealing With It. Tell us a little bit about how that got going.
So Dealing With It, I was actually in London for London Pride, and something just came. I made that beat in the studio, and I had, of course, have gone through my own sexual assault trauma, and then just, obviously many people go through various different kinds of trauma, and coronavirus is a trauma, y'all. We are definitely all going through a trauma. So in terms of dealing with trauma, it just kind of just came to me, and I wanted to make a song that spoke, but also had a bop. Yeah. And that's also what your song got. Little cocktail. I might have to go get one.
There you go. You know, I think that is amazing because, again, about sharing stories. You're sharing an experience that you went through and how you overcame that, and making some fun music to go along with it where people could, you know, express themselves dancing together or singing along. I think that's fabulous. You know, there's always time for us to collaborate. I mean, you know, us drag queens, we're always trying to become singers.
I'm just saying, and us DJs, we're always trying to become producers. So why not?
Yeah, listen, I'll call my agent right now and we'll get us all hooked up together. I have an old rotary phone here. I don't know, maybe Carol's the only one who knows what a rotary phone is, just myself and Carol. But I have to say, you have collaborated with some amazing people and shared the stage with celebrities including Diana Ross, Jay-Z, Lady Gaga, oh my gosh, Dennis Rodman, Chuck D, Snoop Dogg, DJ White Swallow, Lady Gaga's producer, the Chainsmokers, a Ludacris, Pitbull, Michelle Obama, and Cher. I mean, who's left?
You.
If we want to call me a celebrity, we can do that. But don't worry, I have good credit. I'll pay. Oh my gosh. Well, this is so exciting. You're going to be taking us into a fun dance hour. And, you know, Zeke is also accepting requests. And you can send them to him, Zeke, on Twitter using hashtag SUNYPride at Zeke_Thomas. And you can send out a request so that you can get your boogie on.
Yes.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you so much to everyone for Zooming together here. Happy Pride. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay hopeful.